Now we're looking at another situation here, still in East Africa. Animal poaching is a global evil. For Tanzania, it's had enough of the illegal act, which turns creatures into endangered species. As a result, over 30 of Tanzania's religious leaders have joined a new campaign against ivory trade and will be talking to their congregations on the need to protect the country's elephants from poachers.
Tanzania is not toying with its wildlife. Hence, it has launched a campaign to educate the public on the need to take serious action to help conserve the country's elephants and other wildlife species currently under the threat from poachers. This campaign has enlisted the help of religious leaders from major religions. The leaders recently toured Tarangire National Park, located about 118 kilometers southwest of Arusha, to see the gravity of the situation for themselves. The East African nation's elephant population shrank from around 110,000 in 2009 to a little over 43,000 in 2014, a fall of 60%, according to a census released this month, with conservation groups blaming industrial-scale poaching. Demand for ivory from fast-growing Asian economies such as China and Vietnam, where it is turned into jewels and ornaments, has led to a spike in poaching across Africa. Tanzania's government has declared elephant poaching a national disaster and urged China to curb its appetite for ivory. Conservation groups Wild Aid and African Wildlife Foundation are working with the government as well as local and foreign celebrities to run this latest anti-poaching campaign.
So our main focus has been to create an awareness to the point where Tanzanians themselves take ownership of the problem. You have so many international organizations coming in, and you've got, they're all saying this is a problem, but I think until the Tanzanian people themselves start to say, wait, my national heritage is being stolen, our natural resources are being stolen, wildlife is a huge symbol of Tanzania and it's being stolen, so until they really begin to take ownership, I don't know if we're going to be successful in stopping all this.
Tanzania's Natural Resources and Tourism Minister Lazaro Nyalandu says Tanzania's rangers are overwhelmed by the scale of poaching, though there are suggestions that migration could account for falling numbers of some national parks. China, the world's biggest consumer of elephant tusks, announced in February a one-year ban on the import of African ivory carvings, but conservationists say corruption means many will still find their way. The situation is so dire that the message is even being sent from the pulpits.
If we allow this to continue, people coming and killing doing all this poaching like that, killing the elephants, I think it's going to be dangerous for us. So I was trying to help my people to understand this scenario so that they can be eager to defend.
After the message, a member of the congregation explains her view on the situation.
This thing has been in this country for a long time. We have heard from the politicians, but we haven't seen the powerful, and they haven't taken it very serious. That's what we think. But when they decided that now it's time to bring in the leaders from the church, then you say this is serious.
Tanzania's tourism sector is worried that poaching at safari parks is threatening the tourism industry, one of Tanzania's biggest foreign exchange earners.
We're joined from Kenya by the Regional Director for the International Fund for Animal Welfare East Africa. He is Mr. James Isiche. Mr. Isiche, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me on your program.
We're very honored. Now, we've seen the dangers of poaching. We'd just like to ask you, what strategies need to be in place in order to minimize it or cut it altogether?
Well, the first thing that is important is that we need to have strong and deterrent legislation. One thing that we have in common as African countries and developing countries is that we have very weak legislation, and the penalties for poaching are not punitive. So we need to start there by having a very strong legislation to deter this. Another thing that we need is effective law enforcement. Again, we find that most of our protected areas, whether they are forests or national parks or reserves, are not well policed, and therefore allowing for poaching to occur. So we need to have effective law enforcement in place. And the other one I would say is education and awareness, both for the local communities, for leaders, and for the international community, especially where this trafficking the poaching involves trafficking of wildlife products to either Europe or Asia or America. And then finally, to bring down the demand for wildlife products. And again, I'm addressing the commercial aspects. For instance, ivory and rhino horn, which is huge and insatiable demand in Asia. So we need to work with the Asian countries and bring down the demand for these products, because we are going to cause the extinction of our wildlife resources.
Well said. Well, Mr. Isiche, thank you very much for your input. We've got the meat of the story: strong legislation, effective law enforcement, awareness, and also to bring down the demand for ivory products. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Cynthia, and have a good evening.
You too. That's Mr. James Isiche, who is the Regional Director, International Fund for Animal Welfare, East Africa. Now, we'd also like to hear what you think can stop poaching. Our question for the day is, how can poaching be prevented? You can give us your answers either via email or Twitter. The address and handle are right there on your screen. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'm Cynthia Are.